Our Father in heaven, thank you for the opportunity to study your word. We are coming as a class seeking to learn at your feet. May you remind us of things we have been going through. And may you remind me as I am going to lead in this study. I pray that may you have my mind, and also may you be with those who will be listening. Help us all. May you give us the strength and the understanding that we need. I ask that may all be done to your glory. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. The notes are on the group. The notes for this presentation, they are entitled Revelation 9, Who Trumpets. So we will read Revelation 9. So we'll go through the first 12 verses. We'll read a verse each, and then we'll proceed. So, verse 1. And the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven, and unto the earth, and to him was given the key of the bottomless pit.
And he opened the bottomless pit, and there arose a smoke out of the pit, as the smoke of a great furnace. And the sun and the air were darkened by reason of the smoke of the pit.
And there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth, and unto them was given power, as the scorpions of the earth have power.
And it was commanded them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree, but only those men which had not the seed of God in their foreheads.
And to them it was written that they should not kill them, but that they should be tormented 5 months, and their torment was as the torment of a scorpion when he striketh a man.
And in those days shall men seek death, and shall not find it, and shall desire to die, and death shall flee from them.
And the shapes of the locusts were like unto horses prepared unto battle, and on their heads were as if were crowns of gold, and their faces were as the faces of men.
And their hair as the hair of women, and their teeth as the teeth of lions.
And their breastplates, as it were, breastplates of iron, and the sound of their wings was as the sound of chariots of many horses running to battle.
And they had tails like unto scorpions, and there were stings in their tails, and their power was to hurt men 5 months.
They had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name is the Hebrew, whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue that his name Apollyon.
One woe is past, and behold, there come 2 woes more hereafter.
Okay. We are stopping at verse 4 for now. So we are going to go through the commentary. The commentary that is there. There's the pioneers. We have Stephen Askill and we have Uriah Smith. They are the ones which we are going to refer to. So we are not going to read everything because it's repetition. I trust some of us have gone through the trumpets, so we'll be having questions as we go. So the first trumpet, the fifth trumpet, that's the first woe. They are called woe trumpets because why we are going to read a quotation which explains why they are called wood trumpets. but we have been told before the definition. We're just going to repeat it. The quotation under the first one from Uriah Smith, Daniel in Revelation 495, paragraph 2. The one which is in 495, paragraph 3 is the one which we are going to read. It says, the Roman Empire declined as it arose by conquest, but the Saracens and the Turks were the instruments by which a false religion became the scourge of an apostate church. Hence, instead of the fifth and the sixth trumpets, like the former being designated by that name alone, they are called rules. So why are they called rules?
Because it's a false religion. Scourging
Yeah.
an apostate church.
Okay, it's because they are, it says, unlike the former, now he is referring to the first four. In the previous study, we went through the first two. But in this quotation, he is referring to the first four trumpets. They are just trumpets, but the last three, they are also called rules, because they are a judgment upon a false and apostate church. Are we together? Which apostate church is this?
People.
It's the papacy, right? Because in 538 we know that the papacy began to rule supremely, right? Who are the Saracens? Because the first trumpet is going to tell you that the fifth trumpet is going to tell us that the Saracens are the players of that history, right? So the Saracens, I have a quotation which explains that. This is Wikipedia, I think. Just to understand who they are, it says it was a term widely used among Christian writers in Europe during the Middle Ages. The term's meaning evolved during history. This is about the Saracens. In early centuries AD, it referred to people who lived in the deserts near Arabia. By the 12th century, Saracen had become synonymous with Muslim. How are you getting it? When you get to the history of the Middle, it says the 12th century, Saracen had become synonymous with Muslim in medieval Latin literature. In the 16th century, Saracen was commonly used to refer to Muslim Arabs, and the words Muslim and Islam were not generally used, with few isolated exceptions. So, who are the Saracens from what we read? They are Muslims, right? Yeah. That's it's just another word for them. And then the sixth trumpet identifies Turkish Islam as the individuals who are associated with it. And we know Turkey which is the capital city called Istanbul, right? That's Turkey. It's now a republic right now, but it also at one time became an empire. It was known as the Ottoman Empire under the sixth trumpet, right? When was Turkey? When did it cease to be an empire? Who knows? 1919. Why are you saying 1919?
That's when it was dissolved.
Yeah. The reason why he's saying so, that's World War I, right? It lost with the Allied powers in World War I, because it allied itself with the side that lost World War I. That was the end of Turkey as the Ottoman Empire. Anyway, so I'm just defining these nations. So,
So can I just please take you back a bit to the definition of the word? I just think this is a nice quote. GC 568, paragraph 1. There is a striking similarity between the Church of Rome and the Jewish Church at the time of Christ's first advent. While the Jews secretly trampled upon every principle of the law of God, they were outwardly rigorous in the observance of his precepts. loading it down with exactions and traditions that made obedience painful and burdensome. As the Jews profess to revere the law, so do Romans claim to reverence the cross. They exalt the symbol of Christ's suffering, while in their lives they deny him whom it represents. So Sister White here is she's saying there's a striking similarity between the Jewish church and the papacy. And you know that these are the Pharisees, right? And when you look into, I don't remember Matthew when Christ pronounces a war upon the Pharisees. So that connection there. Yeah. GC 568 paragraph 1.
He's explaining on the whole aspect, judgments being on a fourth stage, right? Are we together? Yeah. Even if you go through the Bible, you'll see that a who is usually pronounced against a corrupt church. Generally, if you study it in the scriptures. So we are beginning now. Let's start. This is the history associated with Muhammad. Let's read on page 2. Near the close of the 6th century, there was born in Mecca of the princes of Arabia a man who claimed direct descent from Ishmael, the son of Abraham. This is Muhammad. Who knows that Muhammad goes also to Ishmael? We know that, right? Here the pioneers are already highlighting that Ishmael is the man behind if you trace the generation of the Arabs, they go back to Ishmael. Are we together? Right. So this Muhammad also is from that same line. And then it says the next paragraph. Muhammad was of a serious mind, and it was his custom to retire 1 month each year to a cave. This is explaining how he rose, right? And then it says he would go to a mountain and so and have some devotional time and so on. But until 622. It says that the Prophet first taught in his own family and gradually gained a number of converts. His flight from Mecca, called the Hegira, is the era of his glory and the date from which the Mohammedans complete their time. This is just a general information on Muhammad, who he is, and so on. Then he managed to gather a group of followers behind him, and then their beliefs, they started to believe in his teachings. And then it says, if you read the one which is 163.2 from Stephen Asker, it says they would go to people, like they would just come and say, you have to begin to believe that Muhammad is the prophet of God. If you don't believe that, they would say you have to pay tribute or you die. So they have this fanaticism behind them. They would enforce some measures upon people. If you don't profess into their faith, then they would say either you die or you pay tribute. And so they rose behind Muhammad. And then if you read all these references, I'm just going to pick some points, and then we'll go back to verse 1 and verse 2. Verse 1 and verse 2 says, a star falls from heaven. And what's a fallen star? Generally. Okay, what's a star? Can symbolize a messenger, right? But if a messenger becomes fallen, then what is he? He's a false messenger, right? And then in verse 1 you also have a key that gets given to the bottomless pit. The pioneers identified that key differently. Some they say it had to do with Shosros, but Stephen Askill is the one who explains it better, what that key represents. And then you also have a bottomless pit in verse 1. You're going to define all those things. And then, but what comes from the bottomless pit in verse 2? You have smoke, right? So what I was commenting upon this religious belief of professing Mohammedanism and then going and forcing people to join this movement. The pioneers identified that smoke as the false teachings of Mohammedanism. Yeah. So that's what he's saying. If you're on page 2, there's a quotation which says the rapid progress which attended. The last part it says the figure is a strong one, representing the darkening effect of Mohammedanism. He is referring to the smoke which was coming from this bottomless pit. And then I'm going to refer you to the next page. There's some quotations on the bottomless pit aspect. In Great Controversy 658, this is on page 4. It says the bottomless pit represents the earth in a state of confusion. And then the next quotation says the bottomless pit can also represent a new manifestation of satanic power. That's GC 268, right? And then in Review and Herald, there's a quotation which says mesmerism is from the devil, from the bottomless pit. There are many, in fact, there are actually some powers which come from the bottomless pit from Revelation. Can we just mention them? The powers which come from the bottomless pit. Hello? In Revelation.
Revelation 11.
In Revelation 11, you have a beast that comes from the bottomless pit. And Sister White says that was what?
Atheism.
That was atheism, right? In the quotation in GC 268, she says it's a new manifestation of satanic power. And then Karab.
No, yeah, I just want, maybe I sometimes get confused by this phrase. When it says that here is brought to view a new manifestation of satanic power, I don't know if it's saying that the bottomless pit is the manifestation of satanic power, or is it saying that the new manifestation of satanic power is coming out of the bottomless pit? I don't know if you
the difference between.
So I'm confused.
We can just read GC 268. It says, when they shall have finished or finishing their testimony, the period when the two witnesses were to prophesy clothed in sackcloth ended in 1798. As they were approaching the termination of their work in obscurity, war was to be made upon them by the power represented as the beast that ascended out of the bottomless pit. In many of the nations of Europe, the powers that ruled in church and state had for centuries been controlled by Satan through the medium of the papacy, but here is brought to view a new manifestation of satanic power. So this power, that's the beast that is coming from the bottomless pit. You get it?
So the beast is
so that beast is the new manifestation of satanic power.
That's my question.
Yeah.
That we say that the bottomless pit is a new manifestation of. Yeah.
There is
the bottomless pit. We refer to it as the state of confusion, isn't it?
Yeah.
Darkness, and then the quotation says that there is a beast that comes out of the bottomless pit, and that beast is atheism in France, isn't it? And then Ellen White goes on to comment that then was the new manifestation of what do you call it? Satanic power.
But we do say that when we define the bottomless pit, it's a new manifestation of the.
No,
as far as I understand it, we actually don't define the bottomless pit as the new manifestation of satanic power.
Yeah.
We define the bottomless pit as the stronghold of satanic power, or the source of satanic power. When you look at Revelation 11, there's something satanic that comes from it, that beast. In Revelation 17, there's also a beast that ascends out of the bottomless pit. And we know it's satanic because it goes to perdition. In Revelation 20, Satan is bound in the bottomless pit for 1,000 years. And at the end of the 1,000 years, he comes out, right? And he manifests satanic power for the final time. So the bottomless pit becomes the stronghold or the source of these satanic manifestations, right? Even when you look at one of the quotations we use is early writings, page 21, where Sister White was rebuking mesmerism.
Yeah.
And she says, the Lord showed me that mesmerism was from the devil, from the bottomless pit. Mesmerism was the satanic power, but it came from the bottomless pit in terms of symbolism. It symbolizes coming from the bottomless pit. So maybe it's because of a casual mention of it, that when you get to the bottomless pit, it's a new manifestation of satanic power. It could be a casual reference, but when you get technical, that's actually not how we define it.
Okay. Yeah. Yes.
I guess even when you look at it chronologically, the events brought to view in Revelation 9 happened before Revelation 11. And Revelation 9 mentions the bottomless pit. And Revelation 11 mentions the bottomless pit. So the bottomless pit before Revelation 11 is there. So the bottomless pit cannot be the new manifestation of satanic power, because it's been there in Revelation 9. It's not new. So when Sister White is commenting on Revelation 11, she says a new manifestation. Therefore, it's not the bottomless pit because it was there in Revelation 9.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the beast is identified is coming from the bottomless pit. Right. That's in Revelation 11. What about another one? Another power, the last in Revelation. In Revelation, is it Revelation 20? What else comes from the bottomless pit? In Revelation 17, we have a bottomless pit, right?
Yeah.
What about in Revelation 20?
Satan is cast into the bottomless pit to be loosed at the end of the 1,000 years.
And then the papacy also comes from the bottomless pit. That's Revelation 17. When it returns to the throne of the earth. Are we together? So you have the papacy, you have Islam, and you have Satan himself. They all come from the bottomless pit after he is restrained for 1,000 years. So are they religious powers? Yes, they are. But are they righteous religious powers? No. So is Mohammedanism a religious power?
Yes.
But is it a righteous one?
It's a false religion.
It's a false religion, right? So that's 606. There is a date. I have a chart from. I think I also added it on the group. Yeah. This chart is a timeline, and then it identifies 606 as the rise of Muhammad and his religion. 606. Then it says there is a star that falls from heaven. It says in 606, rise of Islam. Muhammad retires to the cave and begins to hear visions and so on. Are we together? Right. And then there's also something which happened in 606. Let's go to the notes. This is just a note which was made by Leroy Fromm in 606. It says, this is page 2. It says the Pope assumed the title of Universal Pastor. There is a reference for that in 606. In 606, the Pope was identified as the universal past. The papers rose in 538, right? Right. But in 606, the same time where you have the religion of Mohammedanism coming up, then the Pope is given this title. He's made the universal past. They are going to have another line, Lord willing. When we try to have it applied to our time and see what that teaches, there is the end. One.
Yes, this is just a side point, but I found it interesting. If you calculate the number of years from 538 to 606, it's 68 years. And the number 68 is connected with the downfall of Babylon because Belshazzar lifted himself up in pride. Because remember, you had the 70-year captivity, which began with the first captives that were taken to Babylon. Belshazzar lifted himself up in pride and was cut down 68 years later. So 68 years from 538, you notice the papacy, modern Babylon, lifting itself up. And at the same time, God appoints a scourge from the east to begin its work against you. Just like with Babylon.
Yeah, just like with Babylon.
Of old.
Yes. Yeah.
So, just want to get something about that star. We're saying that star is symbolizing Muhammad. Saying that star is a fallen messenger. It symbolizes Muhammad.
Okay. We will add on to that. And we also have a key in verse 1. Is it verse 1? And to him was given the key of the bottomless pit. Right. Let's read on page 2 the quotation from Stephen Askio. It's 164, paragraph 1. It says, the rapid progress which attended the Saracens or arms was due in great measure to the strife between the Romans and Chosroes. Who is Chosroes? Who knows? The king of Persia, right? And then the Romans are the eastern part of Rome. This is the remnants of the Roman Empire, right? We have been going through the fall of Rome in the first lesson, the previous lesson, right? But Rome was in two parts. We had east and west. So the eastern part of Rome is what we are referring to here, the strife between the Romans and Chosroes. Their strife was the result of the progress, was actually that which attended the progress of the Saracen arms. So you have there's many things here. We have this. We have Chosroes against the Romans. They are the ones who are going to give way to the rise of the Saracens or the Muslims. Let's read about it. Or for the sake of time, I will just explain what was happening. There was wars going on between Eastern Rome. This is Eastern Rome. This is Persia. They were in war, right? Initially, Persia was the one which was conquering over Eastern Rome. But when you get to the end of Rome, these are going to return and make a war against Persia. We'll get a date of when they did that. That chart says there was a war in 627. There's a war which is called the Battle of Nineveh. They say it's 627. Battle of Nineveh. Battle of Nineveh. Right. So initially Persia is the one which is the victor, so to speak. But when you get to, and then they leave the Romans as tributaries to them. They are supposed to pay tribute to them, and then so they use that time which they are given to organize their payments for the tribute to attack Persia. So what they do in 627, they come back and then they have this battle of Nineveh, and then the Romans win. But when they win, it doesn't profit them. They are just left in a position where Muhammad is now able to rise up freely. He doesn't have any powers which are restraining him from rising up. So that battle is the key. This key is actually here. This is a summarized version of it. So the key for the rise of Muhammad was actually the war which took place between these two superpowers. So when they all disappear, then Islam can then start to do its work. You can get all this in this set of notes. If you read it, if you find some time, you can get that. So let's continue on. Verse we are now going to verse 5. Actually, before we get to verse 5, there is verse 4. Verse 4, we cannot skip it. It says, "And it was commanded them that they should not eat the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree, but only those men which have not the seal of God." So you have, in verse 1 you have a star. There's many things. You have a star, and then we have the key. We have explained that. And then you have the bottomless pit, right? We explained that. And then in verse 2, we have the darkening effect of this smoke that comes from the bottomless pit. And then in verse 3, we have locusts that come from the smoke. And they came out of the smoke, locusts. Then you have locusts from that smoke. From that religion of Mohammedanism, then we have the locusts. Are we together? Are we together so far? Yes. Yeah. So I'll just put locusts in. And then they are commanded in verse 4 that they should not eat the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree, and so on. So we are going to read about the command that gets given to the locusts in our notes. It says, there is a command. I'm going there right now. On page 4, it says, this is a command from Abu Bakr, because Muhammad died after. There is a date. If I find it, I'll get it to you. Then after his death, he was substituted by this guy who is called Abu Bakr. Okay, on page 4, it's there. If you read with me, go to page 4. The paragraph number 3 from the bottom. It says, after the death of Muhammad, he was succeeded in command by Abu Bakr, AD 632. 632. They are saying this is where he had the death of Muhammad. Yeah. And then he is succeeded with who? Abu Bakr. Who, as soon as he had fairly established his authority and government, dispatched a circular letter to the Arabian tribes, from which the following is an extract. When you fight the battles of the Lord, acquit yourselves like men, without turning your backs. But let not your victory be stained with the blood of women and children. Destroy no palm trees, nor burn any fields of corn. Cut down no fruit trees, nor do any mischief to cattle, only such as you kill to eat. When you make a covenant or article, stand to eat and be as good as your word. And as you go, you find some religious persons who live retired in monasteries and propose to serve God that way. Let them alone. Neither kill them nor destroy their monasteries. And you find another sort of people that belong to the synagogue of Satan, who have shaven crowns. Be sure you cleave their skulls and give them no quarter till they either turn Mohammedans or pay tribute. So it's the same system of religion from Muhammad. Abu Bakr is saying, you're going to force these people to join us, or they die, or they pay tribute. So, but in this command, there is a distinction, you see it. There is a class who do not get affected by it. Who are those? Yeah, those are the pioneers say they were those who were the Sabbath keepers in this time, or who were identified with the seal of God. It says, leave them alone. How are you to give?
Yeah.
So in the fifth trumpet, which is the first wool, we have an attribute of what? The sealing, right? Mm-hmm. You have a group of people who are not to be hurt, and then it says, but there is a people who do not have the seal of God. So it implies there's a group of people who are being sealed, or who have the seal of God in the fifth trumpet, or in the first wool, right? And then, but there is another class who belong to the synagogue of Satan, and so on. Just keep it in the back of your minds. So in Revelation 9 verse 5, let's read verse 5.
Before you read, so that means that we can start to mark the ceiling from 632 when Abu Bakr comes into history, or we can actually mark it before.
Let's okay, who can answer that? Because the command is, it was commanded them that they should not eat the grass of the earth. This is a command to the locusts, right? We have the locusts, they are not to eat the green thing, nor of the what, nor of the trees and so forth. But when to mark this, maybe I can first do verse 5 and try to answer it. In verse 5 it says, and to them it was given that they should not kill them, but that they should be tormented 5 months. And their torment was as the torment of a scorpion when he striketh a man. 5 months, what are 5 months prophetically? 150 days.
Yes.
Right. And we identify them from which date to which date? As the pioneers identified them. 1299 to 1449. 1449. Right? So you have your 150 years. Right? But what are they commanded not to, what's their limit? The locusts. The limit of the locusts. They are not to kill, but they are to what? Torment. So they are tormented in this history for 150 years. Is the time period of the torment. But they are not to yet or torment who? Those who have the seal of God, right? So, definitely during these 5 months, I guess those who have the seal of God were spared. Are we together? Yes. Yeah. But from the rise of Abu Bakr, we have to sort out that kind of dilemma. Or you have something to say?
Okay, I mean, I think I had a question of sister. Sister, was the question of the beginning of the sealing time?
Yeah, there's a beginning at
Okay.
6:32.
Under my understanding is this, since we understand that from past that the Sabbath was kept by the Jews and then kept by the Christians, the past. When it comes to some, there are still people who are still keeping the Sabbath. And we understand that the Sabbath test 1844 to October becomes a test for people, because somehow in the journey they have lost the Sabbath, but we know there are people still keeping the Sabbath. So as we understand that the seal is the Sabbath, which we mark it as the Sabbath. So by that time there are still people keeping the Sabbath to observe the true Sabbath. But if we're going to put it as a sealing beginning there, that means we have to put the seal beginning in ancient time when we mark the apostles keeping the Sabbath, Christ keeping the Sabbath till that time. So we have to be, if you are saying the sealing begins there because there are people who keep the Sabbath who are worshipping God in retired places, that means we also have to mark the other generations also who are keeping the Sabbath till the time. They are keeping the Sabbath. In mind, the way I see it, if you're going to put it as a sealing beginning there, because when you come to the Protestant world, you know that they've lost, and then they pay tribute to the papacy. Somehow, somewhere in the chain, they started paying tribute to the papacy. Then they lost the Sabbath. Then now they have to be reunited with God on the Sabbath. Then it becomes a test on 1822 October when Christ moved to the Muslim.
I'd like to believe that in accordance to the command they are given, and that they are to be allowed to torment people for 5 months, isn't it?
Yeah.
I would actually get to realize that at this point in time the Sabbath was a test. Because if you are not keeping the Sabbath at this point in time, it means you are going to receive what? The torment, isn't it?
Yeah, the torment.
So I want to believe that at this point in time of this persecution, the Sabbath was a test. So in that sense we can mark that there's a sealing taking place, because even though there might not be a physical controversy whereby there's a Sabbath issue test, but it is a controversy in the sense that the people who are commanded to go to kill are told, don't touch those who are keeping the Sabbath. You see what I'm trying to say? So at that point in time, I do think the Sabbath, in one sense, was a test.
Okay. Nyasha.
Oh, I just gone up, but I don't know if you had identified the Sabbath, the Sunday law in 538.
Sunday law in 538.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, that helps to know that there are actually two classes. One was keeping Sabbath, the other was keeping Sunday. Yeah. More?
So is your question, did the sealing begin where
Abu
Bakr gave his command?
Yeah, that was.
Or
yeah,
or in 1299. Did it begin here or
even before?
Or even before? That's the question. Maybe something trickier for the meantime. But there's also something even more trickier which we are going to talk about.
but I think what my brother said, my brother's point is worth considering. That there's a connection definitely between the sealing and the seal. But it might not always be that the Lord is identifying a sealing process in a history.
In that history.
Might be identifying a seal.
Okay.
And we know that the seal at the most basic level is the Sabbath. And we had the Waldenses at that time keeping the Sabbath. So I'm not saying I have the best answer, but I don't know if we always have to actually see a process of sealing in a history in order for there to be the seal of God marked there. Because symbols are determined by content.
Maybe just one small question. I don't know, but when you read some quotations from Sister White, like when the vision of heaven, she talks of, she sees a temple and she's told that only a certain portion of people can go in, and these are those who have the seal. So I don't know, and that is the 144,000. So yeah, I have a bit of a dilemma there. That how do you say that the 144,000 have the seal Well, yeah, I don't know if you get my question. Like, what about the other generation?
What about these?
Yes, maybe not these. Yeah. Like the Miller rights, if there was a ceiling there.
Yes, you want to answer this?
If I'm understanding, but isn't, like even the great multitude, right? Aren't they sealed in Revelation 7?
Yeah, they are sealed.
Right? Because Sister White says in Great Controversy, in the Sunday Law Crisis, if you accept the mark of the beast, you receive them. If you accept Sunday, you receive the mark. Right? And some of them will be killed for it, Revelation 13. And 144,000 don't die. So the sealing is determined by context, right?
Yeah,
as well.
Context.
Like you can find Paul can mention those who are sealed unto the day of redemption and all those things. So I think when it's emphasized in the 144,000 in that aspect, it's emphasizing the special privilege that they have as being the first fruits.
So I can just say something. The purpose of the sealing, it's because God's people are going to have a clause of probation. And then at the close of probation, then we have the 4 winds, they get loosed, which means the sealing time is over and so on.
Yeah, I don't know. When it comes to the 144,000, don't we understand them as the people with the seal of God when Michael stands up?
Yeah.
Not necessarily as the only people that have the seal of God. But there is a particular experience that they go through which no other man goes through, which then distinguishes them from the rest. And therefore they will have that certain work, or they would have been prepared for that work which no one else can enter into. I don't think it's so much to do with them being the only ones that have the seal, but them being the only ones that go through an experience that's specifically set apart for them.
Alright, enough digression. Let's go to verse 6. And in those days shall men seek God and shall not find it, and shall desire to die, and death shall flee from them. And the shapes of the locusts will like unto horses prepared unto battle. Right. Now these locusts are now being described as what?
Horses.
As horses. They are the same thing, but being defined in many symbols. Are we together? Yeah. They begin as smoke from the pit, then that smoke produces locusts, and then goes to become horses, right? And then it says, prepared unto battle, and on their heads were as it were crowns of gold, and their faces were as the faces of men. And they had hair as the hair of women, etc. This is just their description. And then it says they had tails like unto scorpions, and there were stings in their tails. And power was to yet men 5 months. So part of what was motivating these locusts, they were the empowerment from the tails. What's that mean? What are the tail? What's the tail? Who knows the meaning of the tail? The tail symbolizes what? False prophet. False prophet. What's the reference? Isaiah 9 verse 15. Yeah. It says, the ancient and honorable is the head, but the prophet that teacheth lies is the tail. Right? So the tail is the symbol of deceptive work by a false prophet. You can also identify it by the dragon. The dragon is this tail that takes with it a third from heaven. Yeah. Right? A deceptive entity. So I'll just write it down. There is also the work of the tail in motivating either the locusts or the horses for 5 months. Are we together? Are we together? Some are not responding. Alright. So then it says the king over them. That's verse 11, I think. Go to Revelation 9. We have discussed about the tail issue. Now verse 11 it says they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit. Right. Then in Greek he is Apollyon, but in Hebrew is Abaddon. Who is this king? Who is this king? Hello? Othman. Yeah, Othman. The pioneers identified Othman as this king. If you go to page 6, it says, page 6, there's a quotation from Stephen Askew, 171, paragraph 2. Story of the Sea of Patmos. And the king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit. And then they say this character is applicable to Ottoman, the founder of the Ottoman Empire. And history also says the Ottoman Empire began in 1299. We are together on this issue. This is 1299. They are the king over them. But we will just keep it in our memories because we are going to try to identify these events in our timeline, the reform movement of the 144,000. And then it says this king, but there's something interesting on this. I don't know if it's the tricky part of it or actually it's the explanation of it. If you go to Proverbs, let me just look at it. Proverbs 30 verse 27. Proverbs 30 verse 27. It says, verse 27, the locusts have no king, yet go they forth all of them by bands. Right? Yeah. So what is this verse saying? It's saying the locusts have no what? The locusts have no king. No king in the locusts. But they go as what? As bands. And it's very true. If you consider the rise of Mohammedanism, they were just some fractions of people before Ottoman became the king. We are together, right? They were just as bands. But when you get to 1299, they begin to have a king over them, right? Yeah. And what did you say?
I'm saying, is that when they become horses now?
Yeah, now that's the tricky question. Can someone answer? Is that the time when they become horses? Because when they are locusts, they have no king. And then when you get to 1299, they have Ottoman. That's the king, Ottoman. The beginning of the Ottoman Empire. Ottoman. So is this the time where they become horses? Yes or no? Hello?
I say no.
You say no. Why?
I think they were horses from the start.
They were horses from the start.
But them being represented as locusts is teaching one truth. And them being represented as horses is teaching another truth. But they were horses. Because if you look at the verse that describes them, it says, and the shape of these locusts was like unto horses. So then they become horses. They're always like that.
They're always like...
yes. But they are represented as locusts, partly all because of that disorganization, being independent bands.
Okay.
But I think they're always local. I mean,
so we'll skip that. It's just something which we can go on and see what that means. So then when you get to 1449, there's something which happens here that you want to read that history. Now go to there's something also which I want to get here before 1449. Go to page 6 of the notes. At the bottom it says, to show that 1299 power was given to Yemen 5 months, we have the testimony of historians. After speaking of the invasion by Ottoman of Nicomedia, there is an invasion of Nicomedia in 1299. Nicomedia. Are we together? Yeah. Nicomedia. And then Othman is the one who was behind it. And then it says, which was the eastern frontier of the Greek Empire. And then they say, if you read this commentary, it says that was the first attack. Are we together? The first attack upon Eastern Rome in this history. Right?
Yeah.
The first attack. And then there were people who came after Ottoman. There is actually 4 of them after Ottoman, which leads you to the last king of Rome, the last powerful. Actually, he was the last to reign. That's John Paleologus, the last to reign in Eastern Rome in 1449. He's the one who goes to. He's the one who is a king after him, and a Caesar after him, who seeks for authority to reign over Eastern Rome from the Turkish sultans. Hello.
Can you just repeat what you just said again? You said there were four people after, or
there were 4 after Ottoman. Actually, the 4th of them in this quotation, the 4th is Bajazet, and then he is the one who is also in the same time of John Paleologus, the last king who reigns without asking for authority from anyone else. When you get to 1449, you have a king who is weak. That was the brother of the last king. That's John Paleologus. That other brother goes to Muhammad too. To Amrad.
Yes, Amrad.
Goes to Amrad, and then he's given authority to reign. Right. So our time is up. Is it correct, timekeeper? So, hello. So I'll just I'm just going to give you a summarized version of this until 1840. So that when you come next time, we'll try to see what this means in our time. When you get to 1840, you are now in the history of the second rule. So your verses for the second rule, we had not read those. That's Revelation 9, verse 18. And the 6th angel sounded, and I heard a voice from the 4 horns of the golden altar, which is before God, saying to the 6th angel which had the trumpet, loose the 4 angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates. Right? And then if you read the pioneers, they will tell you who are those 4 angels that get loose. Hello?
4 Islamic powers.
4 Islamic powers. That was Baghdad, Aleppo, Iconium, and what?
Could you say them again?
Damascus.
Say them again.
Baghdad, Damascus, Aleppo, and Iconium.
Yeah.
So those are the 4 angels that get loosed here. So you have 4 angels here that get loosed. 4 angels loosed. So what does that imply when you get to? Okay. Before that, I not read some of the verses. So let's read them. Verse 15. And the 4 angels were loosed, which were prepared for an hour, a day, and a month, and a year, for to slay the third part of men. So what's that? Hour, day, month, and year. What's that? 391 and 15 days. Right. So when you get to the conclusion of 391 days and 15 days, yes, gets you to 1840. Right? So in 1840, what happens? If we have 4 angels that get loosed here, what happens in 1840? They get restrained. Right? So in 1838, what happened in 1838? Hello?
Distress of nations.
Distress of nations. Okay, another phraseology other than that What happened in 1830?
Civil war that was happening between Egypt and Turkey.
Okay. Those are also correct answers, but I'm looking in terms of in the church. Prediction. Oh, there was a prediction by Josiah Leach. He predicted 1840, right? He was using which principle? The year-day principle. He identified this hour, day, month, day into their literal time, and then it concluded in 1840. This is the reference point for the empowerment of the first angel's message. Let's go to Great Controversy. Great Controversy. This is now page 11. Great Controversy 334, paragraph 4. It says, in the year 1840, another remarkable fulfillment of prophecy excited widespread interest. 2 years before, Josiah Leach, one of the leading ministers preaching the second advent, published an exposition of Revelation 9. So even if you don't finish this quotation, she's going to tell you that 150 years is this period that gets allowed for the first wool, and then the second wool, she says it concluded on 1840. What Sister White don't have a problem with her. She's inspired, right? Sure, she supports the pioneers. That the trumpets, as they were understood by the pioneers, they were correct, right? But when does the the sixth trumpet end? When does it end?
October 22.
October 22nd, 1844. 10:22:44. This is where the sixth trumpet ends, but the second will ends here, right? What's the reference for this? Who is the guy whom we use for identifying the end of the sixth trumpet? William Foy. What does he say? Okay, it's in your notes. If you go to page 12, he has a vision. One of the guys who rejects he is given visions, and then by some reason he fails to do his work. But then he was given the light that the sixth angel is not yet done sounding, and then that's October 22nd, 1844. So, and then Josiah Leach says when this prophecy was fulfilled in 1840, he says thousands of infidels, they wrote letters to him. That's the empowerment of the first angel's message. That's on page 30. 1,000 prominent infidels who want the fulfillment of the predicted fall renounced their infidelity. What's that? And accepted the Christian religion and declared the faith in the word of God. So, based on this history, we have people begin to join the Advent movement in 1840. And the first angel's message gets empowered. And then the rest of the quotations I think I'm going to read only one. On page 14, it says, from the rise and fall of nations is made plain in the pages of Holy Writ. This is talking about men. They need to learn how worthless is mere outward and worldly glory. And then she gives reference of other empires which reigned supremely. That's Babylon and the other ones which followed. So Turkey was also allowed to do that. They reigned supremely, but they are glorified. And Sister I says we have a lesson that we need to learn of the meanness of outward glory. And then we now have the triple application of prophecy. We are going to continue on that. Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to ask. When we're looking at the sixth trumpet, the justification we have for saying the sixth trumpet is still sounding up until October 22. I know we say that there's a person who was given the mantle to be a prophet in that history. But I not to say my experience means in this, but I personally have a problem with it, right? Based on the fact that you have inspiration when you then look at it line upon line from history. But for others who don't have a thus saith the Lord, that the sixth trumpet is still sounding, how can we show it line upon line? Is to me it's a thing of major importance.
That it's still sounding
yes.
In 1840, right? Or in 1844.
Yeah, I believe you was correct, but how do you show it?
How do you show it line upon line that the sixth trumpet is still sounding in this history?
It didn't end on 1840.
Not that it didn't end in 1840, because if you read the pioneers, they say it ended there. Okay, so how can you want to answer that?
I want to answer, but I don't really want to answer. No, what I mean by that is what my brother just said. I'm sure there is a way that you can prove text, but you know, one of the things that God identifies in His Word is that He lays stumbling blocks in front of those that want to believe, right? And that He gives enough evidence for people to believe, right? So when you look at William Foy as an example, who is one of the arguments used in this message to identify that the sixth trumpet was not done sounding in 1840 but ended sounding in 1844. For someone to have a problem with that is not a good thing. Like, for someone to actually have a problem with that it's part of the testing process. It's part of the whole aspect of the stumbling block that's said before people. You get what I'm saying? That we know based on Millerite history that the prophecy of Joel was fulfilled. And as the prophecy of Joel was fulfilled, the spirit of prophecy was genuinely manifested in that history. Right? So, if the spirit of prophecy was genuinely manifested in Foy in that history, then we can accept his testimony with as unquestioning confidence as we would with Jeremiah or Isaiah, because that is the spirit of prophecy. For someone to have a problem with that, it's part of the prophetic narrative. That it's someone who, it's a stumbling block. That's said there by the Lord.
The reason I mentioned that is because that's how we show line upon line, right? We show that the history of Joel was fulfilled in the Millerite time, like what we were talking about earlier. You won't have a problem with seeing it. But I'm saying most of the times, other people don't have such references to see that, okay, Millerite history, not to say you should always have evidence for what we say, right? So that was my genuine concern, because sometimes we usually emphasize that point, that Foy had the spirit of prophecy, but we don't prove it. You get my point? So it's always key, I believe, to prove and to show line upon line that indeed the spirit of prophecy was manifested in Foy, using the biblical testimony.
But what do you mean that it's not proven?
No, I'm saying some people, sometimes you can have such casual comments in regards to that subject without really showing how the spirit of prophecy was revived in that history based on biblical testimony.
I know, but with you, your issue was not even about Foy. Your issue was about how you show, apart from Foy, how the sixth trumpet continues until October 22nd, 1844.
Not really.
Now I'm saying, what do you mean that it wasn't proven that Foy had the spirit of prophecy?
No, I'm saying usually when people reference it, not everyone, but when people reference it, sometimes we can leave our listeners. I'm not saying he's doing that, but we can leave our listeners without showing the biblical support that indeed even you can take Foy's testimony as solid proof enough. You get my point?
Okay, but I think that would be a steady answer for it, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And usually, from the studies that we've always done, I hardly see that being mentioned. That's why I raised it as an issue of concern.
Okay, so I'll end with a summarized version of the triple application of prophecy, and then you pray, and then if you have any contributions, questions, then we can end after. So what do we find in the first in the triple application of prophecy? Go to page 14. Page 14. It says the three rules are governed by the principle of the triple application of prophecy. That rule points out that when a prophecy is repeated 3 times, the first 2 fulfillments will establish the characteristics of the third fulfillment. The first rule identified Islam bringing warfare against the armies of Rome, right? Islam bringing warfare against the armies of Rome. That's the first rule. Islam of that history was located in Arabia and was only to hate the armies of Rome, right? Only to hate. And then Islam's mode of warfare was to strike suddenly and unexpectedly. If you read Uriah Smith, he is the one who identifies the mode of warfare in these notes. And then this history is identified as the first great jihad by modern Islam. If you go on Google and type great jihad, first jihad, you will get references to this. And then the second war is Islam bringing warfare upon the armies of Rome. The Islam of this history is located in Turkey and was to kill the armies of Rome. So in this history, then it kills Rome. That's 1453. I didn't put it here, but there is 1453 where we have Constantinople falling. That's where it kills Rome. The killing of the armies of Rome. And we also know that under the second war, the papal Rome was given a deadly wound, right? That's Revelation 11. We know that. I mean that's 1798. 1798 is also under the history of the second war. Then the second war identified Islam bringing warfare upon the armies of Rome. The Islam of this history was in Turkey. It was to kill the armies of Rome. Islam's mode of warfare was to strike suddenly and unexpectedly, but with added feature of explosives. If you read these notes, you identify there is a guy who is called Oben, or Arabi, A-N. This is the man who deserts Rome, and then he goes to the ruler of Turkey. That was Muhammad II at that time. And then Muhammad II is the one who leads to the fall of Constantinople in 1453. And then Oben is the one who made this canon. That was a new mode of warfare. So that's part of the second war. And then the history of the second war is identified as the second great jihad by modern Islam. Therefore, if we combine those two characteristics, we will get the third war aspect of it. The third war will be modern Islam bringing warfare against Rome. If the first warfare was against Rome and the second was against Rome, what would be the third war? Against Rome. What of Rome? It's armies, right? So who is the armies of Rome in the third war? Hello? In our time, who is the armies of Rome? USA, right? And then at the end of the world, the armies of Rome are the armies of the United States. The Islam of this history would be worldwide Islam. In this history, that was the Saracens, or the Arabian Islam. But in this history, that was Turkish Islam. So at the end of the world, which Islam is it? Huh? Radical. Yes, close. But what kind of Islam? At the fulfillment of the third rule. Once you try. It's in your notes. The answer is in your notes on page 15. Islam of the third rule would be which Islam?
type of Islam.
Okay. I said Islam of the first war was Turkey, was the Saracens or Arabian Islam. Arabic. Islam of the second war was Turkish Islam, right? So what is the Islam of the third war?
Worldwide.
Worldwide, right? That's the third war version. Yeah.
How do you see the worldwide thing?
Yeah.
How do you see the worldwide thing? Alright, you want to try? Yeah.
I'm not sure if I'm correct, but I think one of the rules teaches us that God can use local, local events to demonstrate worldwide events that are going to take place, like the destruction of Jerusalem, isn't it? It is a type of the
destruction
of the world, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I'm just using that principle. I'm not sure if it fits though, but.
Okay.
No, my question is, how then are we able to identify that the third group of this Islamic thing is going to be worldwide? We're just simply looking at the first one, the Saracens,
the second
being Turkey.
Okay, the issue is not about the issue is not about location, I guess. Maybe it's about location, but I think if this was Islam of Arabia, the first war to here, and this was Islam of the second war, that's Turkey or the Ottoman Empire. Then that means when you get to the end of the world, these guys are no longer there, right? You have Islam, that's modern Islam. So it doesn't have to be the jihad of the Islam in the Muslims in Saudi Arabia. It can be Muslims in Egypt or even anywhere else in the part of the world. So that's worldwide Islam. Because their enemy is going to be the armies of Rome, which is USA, right? Simple.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now just to add, we were learning today also that before Rome was situated in the European areas, so that's where we mark the sea. But we mark now at the end that the Rome is going to be worldwide. So if the Romans are worldwide, then we understand that somehow the trumpets are connected with the destruction of Rome. This weapon God uses to destroy the Rome or the armies of Rome. So we understand when Rome it goes worldwide, so it will need a worldwide power
That's true.
But what my brother also said, maybe if you want to read that reference or that principle, there's a book that was written by an Adventist pastor, an Australian Adventist pastor in the 1950s, I think. His name is Louis Weir. It's called The Certainty of the Third Angel's Message. And the principle is called local literal represents the spiritual global or the symbolic global. That at the end of the world, prophecy is set within the framework of the context of global events. It's a world view. Right? So if you understand that principle and how it's applied in prophecy, it will also help you to see that the Islam of the third world is not waging its warfare only on Europe as the Islam of the second world, as an example, but it's identifying a global warfare. And then you can bring historical testimonies to confirm it.
Okay, so we'll add on these issues next time, right? So let's pray. Our Father in heaven, thank you for what you've been able to do in this first hour. We ask that may you continue to guide us and help us to understand the history of the trumpets in the past. For they will teach us new truths when you revise them. We ask that may you be with us as we continue on. May you bless this convocation. May you send your spirit as you have promised when we gather. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.